recording. Good morning, good evening, depending where you're at. You're listening to a Happy Breath Hour. Our intention is to learn and practice how the breath can guide you to wake up, let go, and shift your success and happiness in life, in love, in business, in sports, and beyond. I'm your host, Roberto Suarez, better known as El Happy Coach, transcending into a happy breath this year. And before we get started, let's just take some deep breath, like the sigh of relief. We're going to breathe through the nose, like 2 or 3 seconds, and then we're going to let it out through the mouth, just to get present before I introduce our beautiful guest today. And here we go. Ready? So let's do three sets of them. Here we go. Inhale. Let it go. Inhale. One more. Inhale. Hold it a little bit. Let it all go. Our topic today is awakening humanity and happiness with breath work. But our guest is Anadel Alberti. Oh my God. She's a professional speaker, founder of the audacious, I can't even say it, audaciously authentic movement, corporate trainer, creativity reactivator, coach and mentor, transforming lives and activating humans to connect with their positive impact in the world, honoring their life's purpose. So welcome, Anadel. How are you?
Hello, I'm so excited. I'm super happy to be here. Honored to have been invited by my happy coach. I don't know other people happy coach, but you're my happy coach as well. The one who taught me how to appreciate breath work and breathing.
Wow. So before we get started, we have to talk about that, right? Like before we get into what you're doing now, right? And how breath work, can you tell us your breath story?
Yeah, actually, I started, I believe it was 2014. Actually, I had done like the Art of Living Foundation programs and meditation and yoga, and I had gotten certified in yoga as a yoga instructor. But truly, like the true breath work, I learned with you when I was managing I Am Equilibrium, the holistic center that we met, and you started teaching that class, and I started going to your classes. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? It's like you took me to a whole different dimension with my breath. And at the beginning, it was very challenging because I thought that I knew how to breathe. And then when I started doing that breath work with you, I know I was like, I would get dizzy, I would get so anxious, I would get nervous. And it was that part of letting go of control. So that's when I started getting into how do I let go of control.
Wow.
And one of the first things was letting go of controlling my own breath, which is what a lot of humans tend to do. We tend to breathe and stop it, on our chest, like, and just hold it there. And I'm like, I'm not getting enough oxygen. and we're so blessed to have oxygen that we can breathe every day, at least us that we're here breathing and in presence. So that's when I started, and it has been life-changing since then.
Wow. That was very clear, and because you mentioned the thing, it's like letting go, right? So that's the second most important part of like to use the breath to transform you. The first one is awareness, which you explained it, that you don't even know that like it's getting aware of how the breath is really breathing you, and because I ask everybody go, oh, I breathe, and all my friends tell me, yeah, I'm breathing today, and I go, you're really breathing? How are you breathing?
Yeah.
Most people have no idea how they're breathing. So becoming aware of it is like waking up, because the more you become aware of the breath, the more you become aware of your body, the more you become aware of your thoughts, the more you become aware of your environment, so it's like that awareness. And then letting go, is the second, it's the second key to the transformation. It's like being able to relax in the exhale, and being able to let it go. So you can let go of your mind, of your thoughts, of whatever it is in your body, instead of resisting. And the third one is conscious breathing, like taking control of the breath, depending on what's going on. So those are the three skills. So then once you started like breathing consciously, what happened? What happened to your life?
The world started opening up. No, but truly, and it's not as how can I say this? It's not like todo color de rosas. Like
Yeah.
everything wasn't pretty in pink, and after that, actually, previous to that, I had gone through a lot of challenges and a lot of I had the blessing and the opportunity of going. I'm from the Dominican Republic originally, and I had the blessing and opportunity to go and study in New York. And I did my 4 years of college there. But even then, I didn't have any tools. I didn't have tools to help me cope with stress, anxiety, overwhelm, being disconnected from my day to day that I had been for 17 years. So I brought that in when I moved to Miami and I started working in corporate, and that took a toll on me. Like it was very challenging. I went through, again, eating disorders, anxiety, stress, toxic relationships, corporate bullying. Like there was a lot going on. And in 2010, I remember February 2010, it's like I was my world collapsed, completely collapsed. And I went into a depression, but a big depression that I was like, I didn't even know who I was. It was kind of like, this is not the Anadel that was like every day, the one that grew up being happy and healthy and moving and just being the light of other people's worlds.
Yeah.
I was pretending so much at one point to be that for others that it took a toll on me. So I was being happy for others and I was dying inside. And in February, one morning, actually it was one afternoon after I got back from work one day, it was like, this is it. What am I doing here? What am I doing in this world? I might as well just leave, Who's gonna miss me? And all these questions that come up. And I had this bottle of pills that I was ready to take, and suddenly it was my mom's image came to my mind, like came and just standing there in my room. She's in the Dominican Republic, but it was a vision. And after thinking of everything that my dad, my family had done for me and had been there for me, I'm like, okay, no, what's the other option? And I called an aunt and she came right away. And it was like everything, like I got my support system, which is something that not everyone has.
Yeah.
And it was coming out of that darkness took some time. It was like I remember driving in my car. I had a red Mini Cooper that I always wanted. I just enjoyed it so much. But I remember driving it and just looking at a tree, and I'm like, I'm just gonna drive, right up that tree.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking. It was like I wasn't thinking straight. I didn't have control. That's when the control, instead of letting go to what is it that is going on, what are my emotions, connecting with my breath. I wasn't breathing at that point. I wasn't breathing. I was out of breath completely. And then it took some time with tools, with people, with help. And that's when I started to discover myself again, like rediscover myself and reconnect with self. And even then, it's been a journey since 2010 until now. A lot of things have happened, but I'm so grateful that they happened. I'm so grateful at this point in my life. Thank you for everyone that just made it challenging for me. Thank you for everyone that has been an angel on my path. Thank you for all the tools that I have been able to grasp and to integrate in my life. And breathing has been key for me to be able to cope with so many situations, with so many decisions that I've had to make, with even during the birth of my daughter, which was like, she was a preemie. And for me, it was meditation and breath work that got me through those challenging times. So I am eternally grateful for that, and I keep repeating it because it's truly, I am being gratitude at this point with everything.
Wow. You're having me cry almost.
I know, and you and I are connected with something that happened, recently, and
that's why I'm crying.
I know, and that's why I am so empowered to talking about authenticity and audaciously connecting with yourself and with others, and being authentic in your vulnerability, being authentic in your communication, being authentic in what is it that you want to express to the world. Either it is, listen, I'm sad. Listen, I'm super happy. How can I help? How can I be of service? What tools can I give you? Or listen, I need help. Because that's what's gonna save a lot of people that are out there.
Yeah.
You know that one of the stories that I remember, Roberto, and this is, I always share it because it impacted me, is one that you shared with me in one of those breathwork workshops that you did. I remember it was in Coral Gables in that studio, and you were talking about those little notes. It was like a little notebook that you created, a little one that you printed out, and it had positive messages in it. And then in the back, you put your number, and you were walking around and you just were giving it away, and you gave it to this young man. And suddenly you received a call thanking you for that, because that day, that guy was walking home to take his life away. And he didn't, because of that angel that you were in his life. So he's breathing, and he took a breath that day because of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I still have like about 50 of those little books, that there were just a few words, there wasn't even, wow. Yeah, so I love, like, I hope everybody's listening to that share. It's like, because we all have our stuff. I had two brothers that committed suicide, and they and and that's what they created for themselves. But you don't have to go there. You can, like you're saying, you can have a support system, but you also have your breath. So if you learn how to use the breath, that's spirit, right? That's the connection. I breathe all the time. Like this month, I'm getting back, usually like at the beginning of every year, I'll start breathing for an hour every day to really clear out my stuff. So, okay, so now you were able to like transcend, right? And that was a beautiful share. Thank you for sharing. And then transcend, and you started getting into like coaching and mentoring, and then all of a sudden this authentic, I can't even remember.
Audaciously authentic.
Yeah, it's such a powerful thing, right? But
it's funny. It's interesting because when I was thinking of the name and I was thinking of everything, I'm like, okay, AA is my name is Anadel Alberti, and I'm like, okay, I always talk about authenticity and I always talk about connecting with self, and I've been practicing myself. I've been, before I tell anybody else, because it's very easy to say things to somebody else, but how about living it and being that, you know, being authentic, being audaciously authentic. And I'm like, oh, that's very cool. Audaciously authentic, AA. And in Spanish is audazmente auténtico. So it's AA. So it's like, it's the same in English and Spanish, and you know, and I was so excited when it clicked. But at the same time, it's like, how did I get to that? And it was like, I didn't get into that until I lost myself to find myself again.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, you know, getting like, and we all get there somewhere, you know, is how do you feel that? How do you connect to that and be able to like use that as like a springboard, right? To move forward. And you as a coach going through that experience is so powerful because you're coming from your real self, not from something that you're reading.
Yeah, exactly. That, and I was talking about that yesterday, actually, Roberto, with someone. It's like you have experts who train, who study, who all know all this like metrics and all this, you know, scientific proof and all that, which is needed so that people understand there's science behind everything that we're talking about, because there is. When we talk about emotional intelligence, positive intelligence, neuroscience, breath work, all of that has scientific, you know, research done already. But it's not even, it's more than that. It's like living it, studying it, seeing others, how they are living their lives, and guiding others to opening up possibilities in other people's lives. And that's what like I would say clicked. And I'm like, what is it? What is it that I'm seeing that is going on? Like we were talking about before starting the podcast, what is happening in the world? And not from a judgmental point of view, is how can I take in everything that's going on and I can at least add, yo digo, un granito de arena. Like, how can I add something to this world and live it better than how I found it? Because I have a 4-year-old and hopefully I have another kid, and I want to live it. I want them to breathe a different world, a positive world, even if it sounds like utopic, you know, it's like, oh, it's not, you know, you live in this world. No, I live in the here and now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is challenging. I breathe. Breathwork brings me to presence.
Yeah. So, you know, that's interesting. I was talking, so I mentioned something to somebody, I forgot who, that I said, you know, we need to, you know, like the better we breathe, the more we practice all of that, you know, we can live in this crazy world. And he said, the world's not crazy. The people in it are crazy.
Totally.
And I go, totally, you know, say like,
but that's interesting too, Roberto. You know what? Thinking about the world in general, and we think about we are one. Because at the end of the day, when we understand that we are one, that means that whatever the other person is doing is a reflection of something in me, right?
Absolutely,
So it's very easy to blame others. It's the easiest path to blame others for what is happening, you know. And the world is crazy, and but we are creating that world. We are the creators of our lives, and that's why I talk about also the reactivating your creativity, because we are creators. Let's reconnect with that creativity inside and create the world that we truly want to live in. Yesterday I was talking to a friend and she was telling me, oh my God, I have so many things and this and that and everything's going wrong, and it's been a week of like madness in my house, at work, and my boss and my trainer. I'm like, stop and breathe. Did you take a second to just be in this present moment? Or are you going in automatic? Which is what everyone, like 90% of people are doing. And people are doing and doing and doing. And I've been there. And I'm there sometimes. I'm like, am I doing or am I being? And I was telling him, I'm like, when was the last time that you took a breath? When was the last time that you thought that it's not anybody else's fault? And not from, again, a judgment point of view. It's, what is my responsibility?
Absolutely.
In everything that's happening around me. And when we take responsibility, of the things that I've created, then that's when the shift happens.
Absolutely. You know, what you're saying there, it's like being responsible instead of being a victim.
Yep.
And yeah, and if you want to shift the world, you know, just look inside.
Oh yeah.
You're right. Shift in here, and it starts shifting all out there, you know. And so it's easy to have a podcast with you.
I love it. I love it.
I don't even have to ask a question, you know, like. So, so, so what would you tell like if you were having a conversation with somebody like to yourself, like that when you were 21, right? What would you tell yourself now? Like, especially if you're starting, if you're a young person or you want to get into coaching or you're going to business, what would you tell them? You know, like a young person.
What would I tell my 21 self?
Yeah.
21-year-old self.
Yeah.
So what would I tell my 21-year-old self?
Right.
I would tell her to be present,
Mm.
not rush,
Uh-huh.
to be grateful,
Mm.
to be grateful for the good, for the not so good, to ask for help, to be vulnerable,
Right.
to take a leap of faith. And you know, one of the things that I say and I promote is to connect with your intuition and to follow your intuition.
Mm.
Because when heart and mind connect, magic happens.
Mm.
But if the heart and the mind are disconnected, then challenges may arise. And at the end, is be truly and audaciously authentic. I can't stop saying it. It's you have to be authentic in everything. And I've noticed it, Roberto. It's incredible. You're audaciously authentic, and if you're in business, you're gonna get more lead conversions. If we're gonna talk about business, you're gonna magnetize your network, so you're gonna grow your network because you're gonna attract people that are attracted to what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna live and you're gonna be from a place of creation, from a place of self. And I'm not talking about creativity of an artist, because we're all creators in our own world, right? So if you are connected to that, if you are 21 years old, if you're 15 years old, if you're 4 years old, if you're 50, 60, 70, being audaciously authentic, stopping, breathing, being grateful for everything and everyone in your life is going to have a ripple effect that is going to take you just to a different dimension.
Well, I'm ready. It's absolutely, yeah, you're saying so much, you know, like so much value there in what you're saying, you know. It's and it's like at the end, it's all about being able to connect to your spirit and be able to live life coming from love instead of coming from fear.
Fear, yeah.
You know, like, and my whole life was coming from fear. It wasn't bad sometimes, you know, like when I played football and sports, you know, I had fear, but I would play. And once I play, I would go into flow, and I know was that my ego was okay. I won, you know. But eventually, you know, that got all dismantled, right? To being able to connect uh, to to bliss, to being, you know, totally conscious and living your work, living your life coming from that world, you know, which is kind of like that's what you're saying. To be audaciously authentic, is that right?
Yeah, you said
it. It's connecting to that space of total spirit, total love, because there's where everything is like authentic, you know. And, because that would be like my question, you know, what does authentic mean to you? You know, like you know, like somebody, because a lot of people say, well, I'm authentic all the time, and it's not working, you know, like, because they believe that what they're saying or doing is authentic. They might think, right? But it's not working.
That's, you know, that's it's very interesting, because being authentic, people can confuse it with saying something new all the time,
Right.
or doing something new all the time.
Yeah.
But being authentic means connecting to that inner child. It means acting from, like you mentioned, a place of love, acting from a place of vulnerability, acting from a place of creation. And it's many times we create estos personajes, like these characters in our lives, in our minds, and we live our lives through that character. And we think that we're being authentic, and this, we can go down the rabbit hole here. But we believe, we think that we are being authentic when we're not truly being authentic, because we're being authentic of that character that we created to be able to fit into society, of that character that we created to just be in compliance with what other people were expecting or are expecting of me. But true authenticity comes from talking and saying what comes to mind, always being mindful, because that's another thing, always being mindful that what I'm saying, what I'm being, what I'm doing is impacting positively the world around me.
Yeah, that I heard someone say the other day, or I don't know if I read it or would say, like, you know, the difference between being, like, let's say, a teacher and a master. It's like the master listens and asks a question depending on the level of consciousness that the person is living in.
Yes, you got that up. So I am currently doing a certification on a course called Rewired for Peace. And Jo Engelson, she's the founder, and she had the gratitude training here in South Florida. And one of the things that I was having challenges with was forgiving. And I'm like, I need to forgive myself for things, and I need to forgive other people that did, you know, that harmed, but they didn't really harm me. Like, it was me, you know, my responsibility. But how can I do that, you know? And she's like, Anadel, forgiveness is call forth, right? And to just call forth to whatever happened. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, and this happened. And she says, Anadel, what would happen if you think, or if you truly believe, that when people act a certain way, they're acting from their level of consciousness at that moment in time? And that clicked, because we are human beings. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like, it blew my mind. I'm like, we're in constant evolution. So if you met me 20 years ago and you come and talk to me today, I'm a different person. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm involved and whatever. No, I'm a completely different person. But inside, I am still being my authentic self. And when I come out, I'm going to talk to you with that innocence, or with that vulnerability, or with that joy that I was communicating with like 20 years ago. But maybe 10 years ago or 12 years ago, my level of consciousness wasn't like the most evolved one, or I didn't have the tools. So knowing that you said, it's right on the dot. It's right on the money, like I said. is everyone acts from their level of consciousness. And being the master, or being that other person who is in front of this other human being, we truly are masters when we listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most of us are going bloop, 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 bloop. You know, like,
We don't listen. And because, but you know what, Roberto, many times when we're not listening, it's because we don't want to hear ourselves. When we talk and talk and talk, it's because we don't want to hear ourselves. We don't want to get in touch with our inner self.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was like 3/4 of my life.
And then you're not the only one, let me tell you. It's like it's a journey. It's a journey. And it's that awareness that you were talking about. You know, first being aware of your breath is also first is being aware of everything that's going on in your life.
Yeah.
How you communicate, what you're communicating, how are you connecting with others? Are you looking for approval? Are you just doing things to be right? What are your survival strategies? You know, are you surviving, or are you living life, truly living life from a place of, you know what, I'm open and flowing in whatever it is that it's gonna come. I'm ready because I know, and I'm gonna quote Gabby Bernstein, the universe has my back. But if you truly believe it, it's like, and you can say the universe, God, whoever, like a higher power, but we're not alone.
Absolutely. We think we're in control.
I control.
So let's go now to the future, right? So like, look, if you step into 10 years from now, 2033, what happened? What happened to the world? What do you create? What did you manifest?
I manifested, excuse me, a world of love, of peace within. That's what I'm living. That's what my family is living. That's what my friends, everyone around me is living. I don't know about anything else. And I told you, but I would be very proud of myself for having taken risks, for believing in myself. I would have created a world of audacious authenticity, connecting with amazing human beings, having impacted thousands and thousands of people's lives with this message that we're talking about right here. I would be present, in peace, filled with gratitude, and having understood, because it's again a journey, that we are all one. And what does that entail? So it's like understanding that we're one, and understanding what that entails, and taking responsibility. One of the things that I'm focused on, let's say from now, but I have the here and now. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. Hopefully I will. But again, it's like, what can I do today to really impact someone's life? And when I say someone, it can be even my life, and not from an ego conversation, because I know that once as soon and as long as I'm taking care of myself and I'm being all this, then everything around me is gonna be as well.
Beautiful. So do you have that? I hope everybody's listening. And that's a whole other conversation about listening. But
no, I know we can do a part two. We're gonna do a part two.
But so do you have like a breath that you use that you wanna tell the audience and practice it?
You know that I use what's his name? Dios mío, se me fue. I went blank. The 478.
478, okay.
Yeah, the 478. That one I use a lot. A lot. And it's like breathing, inhaling for four counts, holding it for 7, and then exhaling for 8. Slowly exhaling. So I have a story with that. When I started like practicing that one, I would be like, okay, perfect. It's like 4 counts. I would hold it for 7, and then I would just breathe out. I'm like, oh, that took like half a second.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, okay, so it's like controlling but not controlling, because it goes about like, okay, how do you integrate control into this? And it's just literally allowing, being aware of what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Allowing myself to understand that if I inhale that breath, that oxygen, and take it to my belly, you know, and just like a little kid, I teach, like I used to teach 5-year-old yoga classes. It's like, okay, now blow the balloon. And now imagine that it's deflating in front of you, but slowly. So that's what I imagine, because I use a lot of visualization in this, you know, in this program or in this work. So that's the one that I use, 478.
Okay. Can we practice it?
Sure. Okay. So
Yeah.
you guide us, because you're the master of breath work.
So it's like inhale, you know, it's like inhaling for 4, and
You hold
yeah,
it for 7,
7, and then you
and then
exhale for 8.
for 8. Mm-hmm.
So, and I will add, when you inhale, bring whatever intention you want to bring into your life.
Yeah,
right?
and exhale everything that doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
And
then
like inhale everything that you want to bring in your life, and exhale everything that doesn't serve you.
yeah. So you bring in the inhale, and in the whole, let that intention come into your heart, right? And open up your heart. And then in the exhale, you can do 2. You can let everything go that you want to let go. Or sometimes it's taking that intention and sending it out to the universe.
I love that.
Okay, so you can start, if you're practicing, you can do it like first you do the one where you're letting go stuff, but then bring in whatever you're bringing in, and then send it out to the universe, because it's a constant thing, you know, like when we're exhaling, right, that CO2,
Mm-hmm.
the plants take the CO2 and then they send back oxygen to us.
Let's do this.
So it's a continuous like cycle, you know. So let's just do like I don't know, 3 or 4 of them. So if everybody just relax. So we're going to inhale, and I'll do the counting. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little pause. Now inhale. This is the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just notice how you're feeling. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Yee.
I'm ready for my day.
Great. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, 478. That's a good one. So, is there anything? How do people get a hold of you? Is there anything else you want to say? You know,
They can go to follow me on Instagram, Anadel Alberti, or also the AU2 movement, like YouTube, but AU2 movement. And that's on Instagram. LinkedIn, my name. Facebook, my name, Anadel Alberti. And my website is my name as well, anadelalberti.com. So they can reach me through any place over there. I'm very active on replying to messages and emails, so you can contact me through my website, and my team and I, like, we're on top of it. And also, Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and what do I want to say? Something that I want to say?
Yeah.
A breath tip, but it's like a tip or a takeaway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Before doing, focus on being.
Mm.
We're so caught up in the doing that we
Yeah.
forget to be.
Mm.
So before doing, focus on being. Be peace, be love, be compassion, be empathy, be joy, be commitment, be humility.
Mhm.
Being humble is very a challenging one when we're all like surrounded by our ego. And the last but not least, guess which one it is?
Be happy.
Besides be happy, bueno, be happy. Be audaciously authentic happy.
Yeah. That's great. I love it. There's a saying I used to have in an old website of mine that said, to do is to be. So now I say to do is to breathe.
Oh, I love it. Yes, yes, yes. I love it.
So thank you for being here. And,
Thank you.
like to all the audience, write some messages. If, let us know what we can add, subtract, and you know how to get a happy coach. Just look for a happy coach somewhere. You can find them.
Boy, he's right here. He's talking to you. A happy coach.
So thank you again for this for this podcast. You were awesome. I love your energy. How your life story is amazing, and keep doing what you're doing, being authentic, and you're pure love and happiness.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Okay.
love you. I love you so much.
All right. Okay. Everybody, just remember, breathe happy, live happy. Later.